gonna have that.
You could fit. No. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shalico Marathon Drivers World Championship Live Q&A. That was a bit of a mouthful, but my name is Renata. I work in Shalico Marathon here in London, and we have a really important group of people here today to take you through some important slides and information about the long-awaited Drivers World Championship. So as you start joining and clicking live with us here today, we have a lot of people, as I said, or 3 key people from our team. So let's go through our order here today. We have Adrian Jurgens, who is the Shalico Marathon America's Technical Director, a familiar face who most of you must know by now. Then we have Oliver Hitchcock, who is going to be the Drivers World Championship Technical Director, and Sarah Engel, who most of you should be in touch with. And she does basically all the student communications and management for the Drivers World Championship. As I mentioned, we are just going to go through some important slides and then open up for questions. Let's just wait for people to join, and we'll be able to start our hangout here today. So, as always, how we do things is, first, we're going to present you with some important slides about the competition and some important remarks about Shalico Marathon Europe and the Drivers World Championship. And then the second part of the call will be for you guys to then post your questions to us with anything that you might want to know from a technical perspective or any logistics questions you might have. And how we want to do that is on the right sort of top corner of your screen, there's a Q&A option. So just click there and submit your questions. When doing that, please always include your name, team name, the country that you're from, and then if your question is related to your car, please also include your energy type. We all know that most of you will be running on an urban concept car here today, but just let us know if you're running on gasoline, diesel, ethanol, whatever your energy type is. So let me just explain what we're doing here today again before we start. As I just mentioned before, my name is Renata. I work in the Shalico Marathon team here in London. And we have a key of really important people here today to take you through some slides about the Drivers World Championship. So Adrian Jurgens, who is the Shalico Marathon America's Technical Director, a familiar face who I hope all of you know by now. Then Oliver Hitchcock, who is the Drivers World Championship Technical Director. And Sarah Engel, our lovely Student Communications Manager, who is sitting here in London with me. And then we have Oliver Darien from Paris, or from France, to be more exact. And Adrian Darien from Houston, Texas. It's quite a diverse group here today. We'll have more people dialing in. So 1 more minute, and we'll be able to start our presentation. And as always, how we do a run-up show, first we go with a slide presentation. Then Oliver will take you through some really important slides and reminders about, 1, Shalico Marathon Europe, and then the second half about specific rules about the Drivers World Championship, and then we're going to open up for questions. For you to submit your questions, as always, there's an option on the top right corner of your screen, and then you just need to submit your question, letting us know your name, team name, country that you're from, and then your energy type. As I mentioned, most of you here will be running on an urban concept car, so we just need to know what is your energy type, meaning gasoline, ethanol, battery electric, whatever that is. So we're almost 4 minutes in now. I think it's time for us to start with our slide presentation. Again, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to submit them. Just keep them going. I'll select some of them, and we'll answer them towards the end of the slide presentation. And now, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Oliver, who will take you through some slides. Now, Oliver, it's with you.
Thanks, Renata. Let me just bring up these slides. Okay. So our colleague Gilles Vanier, who is the technical director for the Shalico Marathon, the Mileage Challenge in London, he can't join us this evening. He's traveling, so I will be running through the slides that he's prepared for us just to remind you of some of the very important details going into London. So I'll start by just going briefly through the schedule for the London event. I'd say that the first important thing for all of you will be the opening of technical inspection, and that will happen on the Tuesday, 28th of June in the afternoon. And all visiting teams will need to have completed their technical inspection by the end of day on Thursday, 30th of June. That's very important. There will be no more technical inspections after the Thursday. So a little bit different to the Detroit event, where they do tend to go on until after the Friday. Whereas in London, once the end of day Thursday is over, there will be no more technical inspections. So if you haven't completed all technical inspection points on your car by the end of the day Thursday, you won't be able to run, unfortunately. So the very important thing there is to be able to be ready to work, all of your equipment, tools, everything available and ready as soon as you arrive, and to complete those inspections as quickly as possible. Certainly before the end of day on the Thursday. Now, then we have the race sessions. So the race sessions, we will have the first one in the morning of Friday, 1st of July. And all visiting teams, you've qualified for your place in London, but you'll still need to earn your place on the starting grid for the Drivers' World Championship. And you'll do that by doing 2 valid attempts on the London track. So the race attempts will begin on the Friday morning, and you will have until the end of day on Saturday to do 2 valid attempts. Now, of course, as you all know, you will all be abiding by conforming to the same rules, the Chapter 2 rules and Chapter 1 rules, as all of the other European teams. This means that you will have 4 attempts, 4 total attempts, to complete 2 valid attempts in order to qualify for your place on the starting grid of the Drivers' World Championship. So lots to do in quite a short space of time. And then we move into the Sunday. For all qualified teams, there will be the Drivers' World Championship in the second half of the day on the Sunday. So a couple of different things, very different things, coming to London compared to the events in Asia and, of course, in the Americas. One of the big ones that you'll notice really is just the size of scale, in size and scale. One of the, this point being that in Detroit we had around about 110, 120 teams on site. When you come to London, it'll effectively be double that, 220 teams. They're all queuing and trying to get their technical inspections finished. And then they're all queuing and trying to get track access to make the most of their 4 attempts, of course, to score the best consumption results during the competition. So there really is just so much more going on in the London event. So we need you to be prepared, to be organized, and to focus on those 2 vital stages, that being passing your technical inspection and then getting those vital 2 valid attempts during the race sessions. Now I want to show you also the track for the London event. Here we go. So this really is a more technical track than the ones we've had in Detroit and Houston previously. And by technical, I mean there are many more bends. As you can see here, the start area, I hope you can see my mouse. To the right-hand side of the screen, we've got this red start line. So we will start from there, go downhill through this chicane, and then around through the swimming pool bend, and these long straight down to the hairpin bends, so lots of corners, very tight corner. Then this is a very shallow downhill, around this long corner into a steep, now this is a 5% uphill climb, so quite a steep climb. Top of the hill's around about here, and then slow, shallow downhill, and we come into the last couple of corners before crossing the line again. So each of these laps is around about 2,250, 2,240 meters, and you must complete 8 laps, so a total of 17.9 kilometers in 43 minutes. Okay, so it's a longer, more complex track with a much greater contrast in elevation. So please keep that in mind when you're configuring and preparing your car. The elevation, I'm sure you guys, being the curious people you are, you've seen these already on the Shelley Co-Marathon, the Europe website. There is a very detailed set of data on the elevations of this track. So please take a look at that and the other information on the Shell Eco Marathon site. So I wanted to just remind you guys of some important points now of the next couple of slides as you prepare yourselves and your vehicle for the trip to London and then the challenge that lays ahead. This track, even for our most experienced European teams, does pose quite a challenge. So it does require careful preparation. Please make sure that your brakes are efficient. You will probably have heard that we will be doing dynamic braking tests for the Drivers' World Championship. But the quality and efficiency of those brakes, of course, counts for all of the competition. Vehicle stability, driver visibility and experience is going to be important. The adaptation of your powertrain for that long uphill climb is important. Now, as we transition towards the Drivers' World Championship, I really do want to make these points again, that you must be very focused as soon as you arrive in London, as soon as you can get access to the paddocks, your absolute and only priority is to get through technical inspection. If you're not through technical inspection by the end of the day on Thursday, we won't have an opportunity to let you pass again. So if you're not through, we can't let you on track to make those 2 attempts. The race days in Europe will be the Friday 1st of July and Saturday 2nd of July. That's it. That's the only race time that we can give to you. Of course, you will have 4 attempts, based on the rules, same for everybody, to make those 2 valid attempts, but you must make them in order to qualify for the Drivers' World Championship. Now, I'd like to explain maybe a little bit why we're doing this, why you must have those 2 valid attempts. There are 2 reasons behind that. The first is driver safety, to make sure that your driver is experienced and competent with the car before moving into the higher speeds of the Drivers' World Championship. The second one has to do with energy. We will be calculating your position on the starting grid based on the values that you get during the Europe Mileage Challenge. So those teams in each of the heats, for example, we have the hydrogen, then followed by the battery electric, and then the internal combustion categories racing in separate heats. We have 8 cars in each heat, but the positions on the starting grid are calculated based on the best consumption results. And believe me, we've sat down and designed the starting grid. It really is in your best interests to be on the pole position. So those who fare best in the mileage challenge, those who get the best results, will be up in front on the starting grid. So yes, the 2 attempts really do need to be your best attempts possible. We will also be comparing those consumption results to your Detroit, the US results. You must score within 30% of your US results to be considered a valid attempt. So again, please be ready to work as soon as you arrive on your car. We will not be providing toolboxes, batteries, or other supplies when you get to the event. Battery electric teams, if you have problems shipping your batteries, or if you've been told to source them locally, we will help you to do that, and I'm sure Sarah will talk about that later on. Now, I'm sure that we say pretty much the same thing every time when it comes to the rules being prepared, but please make sure that you and your vehicle are conform to the Chapter 1 rules, the Shell Eco Marathon Europe Chapter 2 rules, and of course the Drivers' World Championship Chapter 3 rules. It's very important. And at the bottom there, I've extracted one of the vital points from the Chapter 3 rules, is that your vehicle must be capable of braking from 50 kilometers an hour down to 0 in 20 meters or less. That's very important for your safety. Okay, now I've got 2 more slides, and then I'll hand back to Renata. These are just some of the general principles of the Drivers' World Championship, just to remind you. There will be 24 teams competing in the Drivers' World Championship on the Sunday. We will have you guys from the US, some teams that have qualified from Asia, and of course we will have teams qualifying in the European event. All cars will be separated into the 3 energy classes, the internal combustion, battery electric, and hydrogen. And then we hope to have 8 cars in each of those classes racing, before, of course, moving on to the final. From those 3 heats, we will choose the 2 fastest winners, or the 2 winners, plus then the 2 fastest runners-up from the 3 heats. They will all go on to the final. And the first car to cross the line during the final will be will win the prestigious title of the Drivers' World Champion. And I'll say it again, please read the rules. Read Chapter 1 rules, read them again. Read the Chapter 2 rules, read them again. We really will have very little time to help through the inspection process. We will do our best, but as you've seen, there really just are so many teams on site that you have to be ready to go when you get there. And same for the Chapter 3, please read those, and if you have any questions, pass those on to Sarah. Very, very best of luck to all of you. I look forward to seeing you all. We look forward to seeing you all in London, and safe trip. Renata, back to you.
Thanks, Oliver. Oops, I was hearing myself like twice, but now it's fine. We have a few people in the call, and some of them have started submitting your questions, so thank you. We're going to open up. So now you have the floor. Just please make sure you submit your questions. As we said before, whenever you submit your question, include your name, team name, and country. And then if your question is specific about your car, just mention to us what's your energy type, and we'll be able to address your question. So let's start with a more generic question that probably a lot of teams are thinking about now, and maybe we can take them over again to start just the rules and regulations, is when can the teams start to go through technical inspection when they arrive in London? Oliver?
The technical inspections will be open on Tuesday afternoon. So that'll be Tuesday just 1 second, I'll give you the date.
28.
You may start 28th, thanks Sarah. 28th in the afternoon, and we will close the technical inspection by the end of the day on Thursday, 30th of June. So you've got 2.5 days. When I say that, please bear in mind that there are so many teams on site. It's not just you, there are 219 other teams.
Exactly. And another important point, just a little bit related to that, is when are the paddocks open? So pretty much once the teams arrive, when can they work on their car? Maybe Sarah can explain that bit.
Paddocks will open at midday on Monday.
11 actually.
Midday or 11? I thought it was. Okay, I've got midday, but okay.
Sorry.
11 it is.
Yeah. Basically, I'll open registration for the teams on Monday at 11 a.m. and as soon as you're registered, you're free to go to the paddock and start working.
Thanks both, and now let's go to some of the teams. One question here from Mark Westlake. So they're running on battery electric, and he says, if we completed scrutiny easily at the Shalico Marathon Americas event, can we expect to do the same at the European event, or should we expect a different level of technical inspection? And of course, he's from St. Thomas Academy, so hello guys. Oliver?
Adrian, do you want to answer that one?
Yes, the technical inspection is the same, so you shouldn't expect any surprises.
As always with Adrian, spot on, nothing else to discuss. But one thing that's good that Oliver said, although the level of detail of tech inspection will be the same, of course we're talking about more than twice the number of teams, so you just need to make sure that you're queuing at the correct time, that you have enough time to go through tech inspection. Let's go to another question now from Caroline. Caroline Little, would you recommend to have other participants who are not going to get a team pass when we arrive on Monday to register on the Make the Future London website to have access to the venue from Thursday to Sunday? Maybe Sarah can take them through this one.
So as you know, we only give participant badges to up to 9 people if you are a high school or 8 people if you're a university per team, which means that only these people will have access to the paddocks from Monday all the way until Sunday evening. If you are bringing extra team members, that's fine, but they will only have access to the site from Thursday morning as any public. So basically, you can already register on the public website, and you can already get your free tickets. So you can already do that now. It's really easy. I did it myself to test it out. So all you need to do is go on the website, register those people, get them their tickets, and they'll be able to come in from Thursday, and the tickets are free.
Thanks, Sarah. And just to complement that, the URL is, so you should just go to www.makethefuture.shell, and that's the event URL. You can go there, you can request your tickets, see some really nice videos that we're doing for the marketing campaign, and you can even do a quiz. It's fun. You can start engaging with the Make the Future London content before Shelly Marathon starts. So, Caroline, I think your team members mostly should do that. Another question now, and we have a guest from another area, which is great. So, from Aldino, so he says he's a team member from Sadiwa, I think, from Universitas from Indonesia. And he says, we were invited to join the DWC in the ICE energy class, but we have a question regarding Chapter 3 rules, specifically on the Article 228 about the onboard computer. And the question was quite specific and detailed, but I think he just forgot to mention what the question was. Yeah. Let me just see a follow-up here. Okay, I have it now. Thanks, Aldino. Based on the rules, the electrical relays will be provided and installed by Shell and the organizers, correct? Not by ourselves. If yes, we want to ask if the relay we want to ask what the relay specification is, so that we are able to modify the car and preparing for wiring it properly. That was a quite good question. Maybe Oliver, you can explain a little bit about how that process takes place on site. I think you're just on mute. So you should just unmute yourself.
Everybody gets a turn today. Go on mute. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, all of the monitoring system, as somebody from Team Tim called it earlier on, will be provided by Shell. So we've got the onboard computer, we have antennae, we have the relays, and then whatever sensor technology, that be the joule meter, liquid flow meter, or hydrogen flow meter. We will be supplying all of that. And we will also be issuing before the end of this week the dimensions and specifications, including photos and how that will be fitted to the cars, to the teams.
Thanks, Oliver. And now just another question, a little bit more related to Shelly Marathon Europe. As we mentioned before, the track is brand new. Not even the European teams have gone through the track yet. So maybe, Adrian, as you were talking about the track a little bit before, do you want to explain to the teams what will be the most challenging aspect of the London track?
Of course, the obvious one, it's longer. You're going to be in the vehicle much longer than you were in Detroit. The slope, the 5% slope that Oliver mentioned, the uphill slope, that is going to be something that the teams are going to have to manage with their drivetrain and also their driver. So more turns, and of course, I would encourage the teams to get through inspection as quickly as possible so you can take advantage of the practice sessions and to get out on the track and just get for the driver to get a feel for that track. Don't worry about mileage right now. Just understand the track, what it takes to get that car around there. So that's important as well, to be able to take advantage of that practice run. So that's what I'm encouraging. Obviously, it's not going to be that hot, so you're not going to be baking in there like you might if it was in the summer in Houston. So that's one good point about it, but there again, prepare to understand you're going to be in that car a while, so make sure your drivers are hydrated. If they want to carry water with them, I highly recommend the Camelbacks. That's the best way to hydrate the driver.
Thanks, Adrian, and I hope you didn't just jinx the weather here in London, but we're hoping for sunshine and a bright, sunny week for the only week we have of summer in this country, but I'm hopeful. One thing that all teams keep asking us about, and maybe, Sarah, you can explain to them, so what time do the paddocks open and close? So basically, if you can tell them exactly which times they can work on their car.
So
well,
sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Paddocks will open, so the first day on Monday from 11 a.m. and close at 8 p.m., which is a shorter day than normal. And then the rest of the week they will open at 6 a.m. and close at 11 p.m. every day.
Adrian, would you like to add anything?
No, I just want to make sure Sarah answered that one as opposed to me, because I don't know.
No, it's good. And the most important bit is to remember that the paddock does not open overnight. So you do need to make any plans or arrangements. You might have to work between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. So it is a long day. It doesn't open overnight, mostly for the safety and security of the teams and also staff that works here. But I'm sure you will be able to plan your day accordingly. Now let's just get another question from Caroline, and maybe Sarah will also be able to help with this one, and then we'll go through some specific ones about the GWC. But Caroline is asking, are you going to provide shuttle from the hotel to the venue? And will they be able to have the additional team members in the same on the same shuttle?
Yes, we will be having shuttles for you from your hotel to the venue. However, they are planned only for 8 to 9 people per team. Obviously, people who have the participant badges will have priority to use those shuttles. If by any chance there are some extra seats, or if someone doesn't make it, then those extra team members are welcome to use them. But as you know, we have only provided for 8 to 9 team members per team. So if you do have a lot of extra team members coming, they should look into finding another way to getting to the venue from Thursday. And you can send me an email about that. That's no problem. I'll show you what the best way is to get back and forth.
Thanks, Sarah. And just to add to that, the venue is easily accessible using public transport here in London. So the closest underground or tube or metro station, however, or subway actually, how you call it, is Stratford International. So it's easy to get there. Sarah can provide you with more details, but they're also on the Make the Future London website. So the information is everywhere. An important question about the GWC, and maybe Oliver, you can take that one, is how is the starting grid going to be defined? How do you calculate the order of the teams that are going to take the starting grid during the heats?
Okay, so during the heats, we will have 1 heat per energy class: internal combustion, hydrogen, battery electric. In each of those heats, there will be 8 competing teams, and the team that is in pole position, in the first position on the grid, will be the team that scores the best results in their valid attempts on the London track. So that could be an American team, an Asian team, or one of the teams from Europe. So 8 places. The team at the back will be the team with the, I'll say, not quite so good results during the mileage challenge.
Thanks, Oliver. And maybe just to follow up on that, and that's sort of to close how the rules are defined, but how do we select the winner of the DWC, and how is the winner defined?
Okay, so once those heats have started, we will take the 2 fastest teams, the 2 winners. So those are the 2 teams that cross the finish line first after 3 laps of those 2,240-meter laps. So the 2 teams that cross the line first will go on to the final from each of those energy classes, or the heats. And then we will take the 2 fastest runners-up from all 3 heats to make up 8 teams in the final. Then in the final, it'll be the starting grid will be calculated based on the times that the teams took to complete their heats. So the fastest team in the heats will be in pole position on the final grid, and so on and so forth. And it'll be the team that finishes the final first, that is then crowned Drivers' World Champion.
Exciting. Now, actually, we had a question here from Michelle from Team, but the question went missing for some reason. I do remember it, so I'm just going to ask. Michelle, so from Team, which is another concept team here from France, they were asking if probably the data sheets with the information they collected during the GWC could be available for the teams. Maybe you can take that one, Oliver?
I read that slightly differently. I understood that it was a question of when the data sheets and dimensions for the onboard computers would be available. So, in fact, I've got one here in front of me. We will be compiling those this week, and Sarah will be communicating those to interested teams then towards the end of this week, including photographs, dimensions, and how those are installed.
Perfect. So, Michelle, I hope you're still online and that you did get your question answered. So let's go to another question right now. So, Sarah, if you could just help the teams with how was the process for them to follow between their arrival at the airport and the venue? So is there anything else they need to follow, and what do they do step one when they get there?
So essentially what we'll do is come pick you up at the airport and then bring you to your hotel. Once you're settled in and have your rooms and, you know, relax maybe for a little bit, then you're welcome to come to the venue. Or you can wait for Tuesday morning, and then a shuttle will bring you to the venue to student registration, which will be at the Stratford waterfront, where I will be waiting for you to welcome you. And you will be getting your participant badges as well as your vehicle stickers and everything you need for your vehicle. And then from then on, you will be able to access the paddock where your car will be waiting for you. Great. And then you'll be able to start working.
Thanks, Sarah. And we are getting close to the end. So again, to the teams that are watching us, if you do have any questions, please submit them now. And Michelle, I'm happy you got your answer. I can see your message here now, so thank you. If there are any other questions from people who are watching us, just submit them now. You have a couple more minutes to submit them. Now, a really important question before we go into our last one that we had here is how many times can teams hit the track? And maybe Adrian or Oliver, you can help the teams out. So there are two sort of related questions here. One, how many times can the team hit the track, and how many laps is enough for them to complete a valid run?
Okay, I'll take this one. So teams will have, the urban concept teams will have approximately 3 race sessions to complete valid attempts, and there will be 1 practice session, so 1 afternoon practice session. In terms of how many attempts they will get, they will only have 4 attempts. But access to the track, it's a busy track, and there are lots of teams, so lots of queuing, and there's only a short amount of time for each team. So you'll have that 1 practice session, and then 3 potential race sessions, each around about 4 hours, depending on the session, to complete those, well, 2 valid attempts. So 1 practice session and up to 4 attempts, race attempts.
Thanks, Oliver. And now we have one more question again from Michelle from Team. So again, maybe you can take that one. It's probably going to be a quick answer. But will the information collected by the onboard computer be shared live with the teams during the heats?
Okay, so we won't be sharing live telemetry data with the teams, but as Tim, I know this, you guys were there helping us in Le Mans, so you'll have seen the big screen that we were testing there. We will have a similar setup in London where the competing teams will be able to see where their car is in the race, I should say, and how much energy they have remaining. So you will have access to that information, but you will have access to it at the same time as the rest of the public and viewers on site. So there won't be anything specifically for you just to see it on your own. Likewise, the rest of the data that we'll be collecting, the telemetry, will be made available to teams after the event.
Thanks, Oliver. We are starting to run out of time, and we've gone through the most important questions. So I think now we can start to wrap it up. So let's go with advice and tips around the table. So, Mr. Jurgens, anything you want to advise or tell or share with the teams?
Yeah, of course, you know, we drum this in, but it's there's good reason for it. Please make sure you read the rules and make sure you understand Chapter 3, because that's going to be specific for the visiting teams. Also, be ready. When you arrive, if you arrive ready, this will go so much smoother for you. If you're having to work on your vehicles or do some significant repairs, that's just going to cause you delays that could hinder your opportunity to compete. So please be ready. And also, very important, the driver's briefing. That is going to be very critical. So make sure the team leader and drivers are at those drivers' briefings in the morning. That is going to be very critical because there's no second chances on that one. I'll turn it over to you, Oliver.
Thanks for that, Adrian. Very important points. I'll just say it again, going back to my notes from the PowerPoint, the presentation earlier on. Please remember those key points. Must finish the technical inspection by the end of day on the Thursday. There will be no other opportunity to do it again. 2 valid race attempts before the end of the day on the Saturday. As Adrian just said, please be ready to work. Please be organized as soon and ready to work on your car. Have it ready as soon as you arrive. If there are any questions, now is the time to ask them and not when you arrive. Obviously, we'll do our best to help you, but we have time to help you now. And as Adrian said again, please read the rules. All 3 chapters, please know them well. And we'll see you in London.
Okay. Sarah?
Yeah, just a couple of things from me. Also read the Participant Handbook. That's in the important information page on shell.com. So that handbook is the same principle as the one you get for Detroit. So it's all the information you need about the schedule, about food, about camping. Not that, well, yeah, you don't care about that part. But also about the paddocks, how big they're going to be, what's going to be in them, just practical information that I think is really useful for any team. Just one note is that the plugs in the paddock will be European 2-pin plugs. They won't be UK plugs, okay? So make sure you bring the right kind of adapters with you for 2-pin European plugs. And one last thing, please, I know you guys are taking a little bit your time with agility to get everything sorted with your vehicles to get them to London. I know it was a short turnover. I know you didn't have much time, but you really need to send that information back to Agility because they need to start sorting it. Otherwise, your vehicle won't be on time in London, and I think that would really be a huge shame. So please make sure you're in contact with Agility constantly. Ask any questions if you have them, and make sure you get that information over to them. Get your crates ready, and just send everything over to London so that it's ready for you when you get here. I think that's the main points from me. I'm really looking forward to welcoming you in London. You'll have a blast. It's a great competition. You're going to meet so many people from so many places. It's going to be amazing. So we're really excited to have you there.
Thanks, Sarah. I think that was quite comprehensive, and I hope everybody could take good advantage of our time here today. Just remember, and a couple of reminders, I guess, that everybody just mentioned, but this video will be available later on, or probably now, as if you're watching it afterwards, on YouTube. So just keep watching, rewatch it. We'll also make the presentation that Oliver shared with us available for you guys to have a read if you haven't done that by now. But as everybody has been saying, Chapter 3 of the rules of the DWC or Drivers World Championship is live on shell.com. You can simply go there and download that information. All the other documents that we are referring to are live on the shell.com website. If you have any questions, just please go to shell.com/ecomarathon. Literally every single document that we refer to here today is live there. If you don't have the link for any reason, or if you cannot find it, send Sarah an email. You should all have her email by now. If not, if you have a question, share the question on the Facebook group. It's a great way because then your question can be answered to everybody, and you might be helping another team with the same question, which is pretty good. As Sarah said, just make sure you complete all the information that's required, all recommendations, following the expected deadline. The worst that can happen is for you to make it to London and your car to be stuck in the States or in Canada. So let's just please have a great competition. Don't forget that we also have a great tech tip video about the DWC. If you have any other questions, just watch that and you'll get final answers. I guess that's it. We're running out of time. Thank you for everybody that joined us. We'll share that video again, and if you do have any questions, send them to Sarah. Post that on the Facebook group. And just a simple note, I was just reminded, we do speak English here in this country. We might do it with a thick accent like me, but we do speak English, and I hope this year you meet a lot of people. As Sarah said, it's really nice, really diverse. And it's bigger than you can possibly imagine. It's also going to be bigger and new for everybody that's joining London this year. So we're all really excited. We're all working a lot, and I know you are too. That's it for us today. I'll let Oliver get on with his night. Adrian still has his afternoon to go through. Oh, there's one quick question. Let me go through that one. That was so close. So let me help him out. One quick question. You mentioned that only 8 participants are allowed to enter the paddock. Our understanding was that there were 20 members allowed to participate. Sarah?
Where is this team from?
I cannot see where they're from because they haven't followed my initial request.
Right. So obviously European teams are allowed 20 people per team because that's the rule in Europe. And but for the DWC, obviously we don't really recommend having 20 people working on the car at the same time. And the number of people that are allowed to accompany the vehicle on track, well, at least at the start-finish area, will be limited as usual. So so for the European teams, don't worry, you will get 20 participant badges when you come register with me.
Yeah, and if you read the rules, you'll know that the rule of 8 team members apply to guest teams only, and the European ones are the hosting teams. So, they're from Munich, so we can even speak to them in German. But no, you get 20 badges, just guest teams will have 8 here. Am I correct?
Ja, das stimmt. Nur 20 Leute für europäische Teams. So,
yeah, we speak foreign, German, and English in this country. So thanks everybody that joined us today. We are running out of time. Thanks again. If you do have any questions, you still have time to submit them via email or on the Facebook group. But it's a wrap for us here today. Thanks everyone. Thanks guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.